Hey YouTube, coming at you live from Ontario, Canada. My name is Dustin Dolby. Today I would love to show you how I approach photographing perfume with one speedlight. This is a classic studio look that we all kind of recognize immediately. So let's zoom in and take a little look at this in HD. I'm kind of happy with the way the materials are acting, nice highlights and refractions, and some good volume in this bottle, characterized by those refractions. Now this is a pretty neutral look to which you could customize this with colored, gels, or you could definitely do more compositionally. Though by boiling everything down to this neutral canvas, I hope to have a bit of fun today with one speedlight and unpack how you can arrive at a few of these solutions in fairly humble ways. So I have out a single Yongnuo, a Yongnuo 563, and that's going to be our instrument today. And let's take a look at our perfume here, because it's sitting pretty, and we're fulfilling the volume of the liquid, which really characterizes the shape of the bottle. If you're subscribed, and shout out to the 20% of my viewers who are subscribed, and the other 80% I will win you over slowly, you probably know where we'd light this from. Where we wouldn't light it from is the front, right? Because at a 64th power, oh, and I just double dipped. Okay, it almost actually looks spooky, but it really doesn't look true to form. And maybe actually a layer like this would be really useful on lighten mode if you wanted to inject a bit of a party into your shot later on. Though the true to form element just isn't there. So let's use this speedlight. Instead of lighting it frontally, I'm gonna shoot it off the back. So I have a wall, but this could be a diffuser, one of those foldable diffusers, or anything white, even a large piece of paper. The important thing is that we light it up, and then it refracts around here inside the bottle, has a little party, and then looks true to form for the camera. So I'm gonna jack this up to a 16th power, and not even really thinking about the angle, I'm just gonna shoot this straight back. So I'll adjust my angle a little bit. Nice, so that's really our first jewel of knowledge, the fact that backlighting the item really fulfills the volume of the shape. And we might take that for granted, but there's a lot of folks out there who might not have known that, and it's not necessarily that intuitive. So exposures like this definitely satisfy two core issues. We undoubtedly have volume in there, there's no doubt about that. And secondly, we do have a beautiful canvas infinitely dropping off because it's directly reflecting that bright wall. Now, when people have their shooting canvas as like an array of clouds or something magnificent, they're often projecting that onto the background and then reflecting that into the shooting surface. So that's what I mean by counterintuitive, folks. The moment you realize you can separate your product from your canvas, they're completely separate entities, you unlock a whole raft of possibilities and options, whether you're shooting with speedlights or strobes. So when people shoot with strobes, they do have a modeling light. We're shooting with a Yongnuo 563, so we don't have a modeling light. So one thing I like doing is just scanning a few heights of exposures off the wall. I'll take like 5 right now. And this will just kind of give me a lay of the land. And it's just a good test to see where on the wall we're going to be able to put light under our perfume. So maybe there. And that last one was a bit too far. Switch over here to the one before. And you see that around there we were getting underneath our perfume. And now we can kind of micro adjust knowing that angle. And we know we're in the right ballpark. We're gonna lock this speedlight down just by putting it on a relatively lightweight light stand. And I linked a few recommendations in the description off of Amazon. And let's angle this at a reasonable angle. And I know you can't see that, let's cut to B-roll. And I'll fire this off with the remote here. Not bad. It's actually a pretty milky gradient. The dark at the front right can be combated. So to get rid of that, I'm gonna angle our flash more up and a slight bit to the right. Let's see how that worked. Not too bad. Now you can feel free to tweak the living heck out of this shot because it does comprise about 90% of the overall aesthetic of your canvas. So take your time to tweak this. I won't tweak mine too much. I think we're in the ballpark here, but this is the kind of thing where in an organic situation, I may tweak this 50 times until it just kind of looks beautiful. Okay, so guys, let's introduce a bit of light up here because this is screaming for detail and these are glossy elements. So what I'm gonna do is run a quick test using 2 just white cards. These are a plexiglass alternative. And I'm gonna kind of just suffocate our item here at the bottom. And running this test will tell me where a lot of reflections are coming from. I could explain it, but you guys are clever. You'll get the utility once you see this shot here. Obviously the bottom of this exposure is ruined, but the real utility here comes with if you can sneakily take these out. And of course, the effect here, and if you're subscribed, you'll know what I mean. We could combine these two exposures together really easily, and we'd have a ton of fun in post-production with that. Now, do you notice a subtle movement between the two? I certainly do. And I'm obsessed with getting things to line up on a pixel by pixel level. So what I'm gonna do is only use one of these plexiglass sheets, and I'm just gonna kind of hover it in here to make sure there's no friction. So I'll hover that in. And again at this side, hover it in. And then of course we'll take a blank exposure after. Like I said, they're relatively flat, but it's an awesome starting point to work with. You also notice in this base exposure compared to these exposures, we're actually introducing highlights onto the sides, which really smooth everything out, and it's very pleasing. World of difference when you go into Photoshop and you have all those tools available to you. Now, if you want to see a more in-depth post-production element, because I'm not including the Photoshop for this, it's relatively just a mask. You can always Google how a mask works. I've covered the compositing in depth in my recent episode, how to composite an Amazon appliance on a white background. Check that out if you haven't already. It was a really fun stream. It was about 40 minutes long. And to the rest of you, I hope you enjoyed just unpacking a few ideas today. I thought we'd have a bit of fun, and I certainly enjoyed it. I'll see you next time here on workphlo. Take care, everybody.